During the fighting in the Sumy region, Ukrainian paratroopers, together with other units of the Ukrainian airborne forces, were able to capture 15 Russian invaders, the Ukrainian airborne assault troops reported on their Facebook account. It is emphasized that the majority of these 15 Russian prisoners of war are soldiers of the 810th and 155th separate brigades of the Russian Armed Forces Marines. It is noteworthy that these two Russian units were particularly distinguished by their inhumane treatment of Ukrainian armed forces soldiers who had previously been captured. These brigades were distinguished by their particular cruelty towards Ukrainian soldiers in captivity, the Ukrainian Air Assault Forces noted. The Ukrainian military also reported that these Russians will now replenish our exchange fund and in the future they can be used to exchange for captured Ukrainians. They also assured that the captured Russian soldiers were given the necessary medical and psychological assistance. It has also recently become known that Ukrainian fighters captured an occupier using an FPV drone. According to the defenders, such a capture of a Russian is unique, as it happened for the first time thanks to such a drone on the account of the birds of Magyar.
The Ukrainian Defense Forces have preliminarily acquired long-range missiles. On the night of June the 23rd, a missile hit the Atlas oil depot in Rostov Oblast, which supplies the Russian occupation army. The successful destruction of the missile was confirmed by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The military noted that the Russian facility was hit by Special Operations Forces and missile troops. This suggests that the strike was carried out by some long-range missile system. The plant is used to provide fuel and lubricants to Russian military units involved in the aggression against Ukraine, the General Staff noted. They specified that the mysterious weapon had reached its target and a fire had broken out at the plant. The consequences of the attack are being clarified. Blogger Roman Shrike drew attention to the unusual nature of the night operation. He had two questions. First, what kind of missile weapons did Ukraine use to strike such a remote target in Russia? The second point is the lack of video of the fire at the base from eyewitnesses. This base was burned twice already. It is located near an active highway, so there were many videos from onlookers. Now there is not a single video, but there is confirmation of a night fire on the NASA fire map. Something caught fire and quickly went out, Shrike noted. Yuri Slyusa, the acting governor of Rostov Oblast, confirmed that a fire occurred at an industrial facility after the attack. He added that no one was injured. Located near the Azov Sea and bordering Ukraine, Rostov Oblast plays a crucial logistical role for Russia's war effort due to its proximity to frontline operations. The same depot was previously targeted in November 2024. The defense forces continue to take all measures to undermine the military and economic potential of the Russian occupiers and force the Russian Federation to stop its armed aggression against Ukraine, the General Staff said. The strike is part of Ukraine's broader campaign aimed at disrupting Russian supply chains and disregarding its capacity to sustain the full-scale invasion. Fuel depots, rail infrastructure and ammunition stockpiles inside Russia and occupied territories have increasingly become targets for long-range drone and missile strikes. Russian resources confirm information about an explosion in the area of temporarily occupied Mariapol. This is reported by Mariapol mayor's advisor and head of the Center for the Study of Occupation, Petro Andriushchenko. Andriushchenko noted that the strike was carried out in the evening, and in the morning the Russians confirmed the fact of damage to air defense systems. Fact-checking. Russians confirmed the strike on the Mariapol area yesterday evening through their channels, and the damaged Buk anti-aircraft missile system, which was dragged to the Ilyich Iron and Steel Works in the morning, clearly for repair, confirms our previous information about the defeat of the air defense system on the ground, he wrote. The head of the Center for the Study of Occupation provided a photo of the damaged Buk anti-aircraft missile system, which was dragged to the Ilyich Iron and Steel Works in the morning, taken from Russian sources in his message on the Telegram channel. In his previous publication, Andriushchenko clarified the possible strike location. We report one hit exactly in this rectangle Mariapol, Shairoka Balka, Mangush, with the center at the airport, Andriushchenko noted. According to him, there is a high probability that the target of the attack was the Russian air defense system. With a high degree of probability, they hit the Russian air defense. Here, it could be anything from Tor and Buk to S-400. Everything is hidden here, he said. Andriushchenko also added that the situation continues to be clarified, but even now it is possible to talk about a successful hit on enemy targets. Recall, according to information of Rostek, a Russian state-owned industrial conglomerate, the Russian armed forces have taken delivery of a new batch of surface-to-air missiles intended for their Pantsir S air defense vehicles. This delivery is part of an ongoing effort to replenish ammunition stocks and enhance the operational readiness of the Pantsir S units currently deployed in the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The Pantsir S-1 missiles delivered are optimized to counter a range of aerial threats, including unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, cruise missiles, and low-flying aircraft, reaffirming Russia's strategic focus on reinforcing short to medium-range air defense capabilities in response to evolving combat challenges. The statement by the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Alexander Syrsky, about possible offensive actions may be connected with two main aspects. Military expert and former SBU employee Ivan Stupak expressed this opinion on Radio NV. The first probable reason, according to Stupak, concerns the Ukrainian missile program. We are counting on German assistance, that they will help us with components, machines, technologies, drawings, and we will speed it up. The president also spoke about this, that Ukrainian ballistics, cruise missiles, may appear in Russian airspace in the near future, the expert noted. At the same time, Ivan Stupak believes that a more likely reason is related to the increased activity of Ukrainian UAV pilots. The Russian side has been raging for several days now. After the appointment of Mr. Magyar, the Ukrainians began to hunt not for Russian logistics, loaves of bread, or even tanks, but they are hunting for Russian counterparts, UAV operators, the expert said. According to Stupak, the Ukrainian side is thus clearing space to get rid of Russian unmanned aircraft in certain areas. This will allow clearing the air and being able to move forward. He emphasized that Russian UAVs cause significant damage. About 70 to 75% of our guys get 300 on the fronts. This is a consequence of Russian UAVs. Earlier, it was reported that the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Alexander Syrsky, stated that the possibility of a new offensive from Belarus cannot be ruled out. He did not rule out that this could happen after the joint exercises of the armies of Russia and Belarus, called West 2025, planned for September. Syrsky recalled that a similar scenario had already been implemented in February 2022 when, after the completion of joint exercises, Russian troops remained in Belarus and used its territory for a large-scale invasion. Recall that ISW analysts stated that Russia and Belarus have reduced the scale of the joint military exercises Zapad 2025, which were supposed to take place in September 2025, and moved the main maneuver further away from the western borders of Belarus, which indicates an attempt to position themselves as safe for the West. President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed the opinion that Alexander Lukashenko fears that Ukraine will consider the presence of the Russian contingent as preparation for offensive actions.